can we make it? That's always a very important thing. And how you're going to make it. Just get down and put something on the paper, which I'm trying to do right now.
In Britain, the biggest change in our motoring history was just taking shape.
Everything was in utmost secrecy. No one was allowed into, apart from those few who were working on it, no one's allowed into the department at all. If you try and finish drawing it, you might recognise it. It's a Mini.
The Mini, the so-called car of the century. It was designed by Alec Issigonis, the most charismatic and cantankerous car designer in Britain.
Issigonis had got that many ideas so fast. It was a bit of a job to keep up with him. It was a challenge, but he always insisted on the word elegance. Style to him was a bit of an anathema, I think. A car was a functional instrument, like a hammer.
John Shepherd was responsible for putting flesh and blood into Issigonis's wildest idea. A car with the engine set sideways, driving the front wheels, which were tiny, and placed at the corners of the car to maximize interior room. The Mini was designed at a time of petrol rationing and was meant as a rival to foreign bubble cars. Reporters were expecting a town runabout, a shopping bag on wheels, but at the press launch they found they had a racing car on their hands.
We were watching these press people going around, very daintily they were going, and I said, come on, let's show them what we can do with this thing. And we took one of them each, whipped it around the thing, go to the corner, back again, but 3 laps there, put the wheels back in the pound there, and walked away. As we walked away, Issigonis has obviously seen us do it, and he came and gave us a bottlicking for it. But damage had been done. Press people seen what we were doing. Of course, they are going to beat us. Off they went. Of course. All I know is those 10 cars all needed a complete new set of tyres around there. They ripped the lot off.
The Mini was truly revolutionary. It stood for everything that was best in British design. But it also inherited the vices of most other small British cars of that era, even exaggerated them because of its size. Certain injuries began to repeat themselves over and over again, and Professor Mackay's new accident research team began to find out why.
Supposing you have a rollover accident at night time, in this car you've got the filler neck to the fuel tank that's sticking out a long way. So in a roll, it just gets sheared off. You've got free fuel coming out, you've got an electrical source, you've got a fire, you get lots of people burnt to death. And here you've got a door latch design, which is just like a door latch in a house, so that if the side of the car gets stretched, the door will just swing open, people will be ejected, they'll get fatal and serious head and neck injuries from landing on the ground. You've got a seat that is just attached at the front, it hinges, nothing to hold it down at the back, so that people in the rear will come shooting forward, the people in the front will be crushed by the weight of the occupants behind. You've got a really short nose on the vehicle, so that in a frontal impact, the engine comes back, the transverse bulkhead comes back, you get really serious disabling injuries to the feet and the ankles and the lower legs from that design. So I said some fairly unpleasant things about this little car in the local press and elsewhere, and I had a summons to go to Longbridge to see Alec Issigonis, the designer of the car. And he was a dominant senior engineer at the time. He put me on the carpet in front of his desk and he said, young man, I design my cars that have got such good brakes, such good steering and handling, that if somebody gets into a crash, it's their own fault. And I thought this was a particularly stupid approach to have, and I told him in no uncertain terms what I thought, so we had a good stand-up row about it. And Of course, one of the things that happened, to the Mini was that it couldn't meet the early safety standards in North America. It had to be withdrawn, and thus it was a failure because there was no market for it in the best market in the world.
Millions were spent on correcting those early problems and making sure the Mini meets today's safety standards. 40 years on, it's become one of the world's top-selling cars of all time.